monitor weather, and we have our first storm that has formed here just south of Cleburne, north of really northwest of the Itasca area, and this storm is going to continue moving on fairly quickly to the northeast. That is the good news with storms today, is they are moving quickly, so they're not going to bring a whole lot of flooding or anything like that, but these storms will quickly intensify, and this one's already blown up. I mean, we put this on the loop here. You can see how quickly this storm blew up just on the south side of Johnson County. There is this blue box here, that special weather statement, that is for the possibility of 40 mile per hour winds and quarter-inch sized hail. So if we expand that, I just want to give you a few details here. So yes, 40 mile per hour winds are possible with this one, also pea-sized hail. So nothing severe at this point. We're not to the level of severe weather. That starts where you have winds that are in excess of 58 miles per hour, as well as the quarter-sized hail. So we're not quite there yet, but we will be soon. And this storm is moving east at 45 miles per hour. So not quite as quickly as the storms we saw the other night, but it is moving at a pretty decent clip. We will have a severe thunderstorm watch coming out soon for our area, and so I am waiting to see when that comes up. So I'm going to bring the phone over here. I've still got updates coming through, and in fact, close this here. Yeah, since we've got a quickly developing situation, I'm going to just keep this phone close by, and that will keep me abreast of any new developments here. So this is the only storm we have right now, but you can see south of there we have more development here, and temperatures. I was just talking to somebody else about this a moment ago. As warm as temperatures are from our area down towards Waco, the cap is breaking, so that's allowing for more convection here. So we could have a strong storm developing here just in the northern parts of McLennan County, maybe another one in Hill County, and then obviously this one in northern Hill and southern Johnson County right now that is headed towards Ellis County. Now, I know that many of you, indeed possibly most of you, are a little raw, a little gun shy after the storms that we had the other day, this past Saturday, early Saturday morning. The good news is I'm not seeing those kinds of winds at this point with that storm. I can't rule that out, but we're not really seeing that at this point with this storm. Now, I will say it does seem to have kind of hit a little bit of a ceiling here. So it blew up, and then it hasn't really intensified that terribly much in the last just couple of frames here. So it may still be fighting the cap a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be fighting it for long. I think that we will likely see this one reach severe levels before it very quickly makes its way out of our area. If I've got good news to share, it is that this will not be a late night event. We're not looking at being up super early in the morning or up super late at night. This is going to be done and over with by, I would say, 7, maybe 6, 7 o'clock tonight. So it will be out of here fairly fast, and the dry line will move through. That'll push all of this out of here, and realistically, we'll kind of actually be done with rain probably for a while, which is not necessarily good news, but we will take it when it means getting the severe weather out of our way here. So we'll continue to monitor this, and this particular storm, it almost looks like there's 2 little cells there, and we'll see what that does. We'll see as we continue to monitor all of this as it moves eastward, but it will continue to intensify as we get closer. While we have just a moment here without any new information to share, I do want to talk about weather call. We've spoken about that quite a bit on this brand, and I just had a meeting today where we were talking about the successes of this brand, and I mean, there's been testimonials that we've gotten as well. I'm working on compiling some of those from the last couple of storm events we've had. It's been a busy season already, and I've had a number of you say, well, I never heard that there was a warning. I never heard anything was going on. When there is a watch issued, coming up when we have this severe thunderstorm watch issue, there's going to be a text message or an email that goes out and lets you know, hey, there's a watch going on. Make sure that you're watching conditions to see what's going on. And then when those warnings are issued, you've got your tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings and those kinds of things. When those are issued, that is when you want to make sure that you're getting that phone call from me. And it's not something that's just going to buzz your phone once and real quick and done. this is going to make sure that you are fully aware of that warning that has gone out. So the cool thing is it has lightning features. It has the Find Me feature where, hey, if you're traveling, you're driving around for work, it will find you when severe weather is issued. Severe thunderstorm watch has been issued here, and that is until 4 p.m. So that's severe thunderstorm watch, including Ellis, Hill, Johnson, and Navarro counties. So all 4 of our counties here are included in that, and I'm going to, let's get that pulled up here, shall we? And if you'll allow me the moment to get this posted on the page as well. Like I've said many times before, I am not somebody that has the fancy. Let's put the radar up there. It's going to take a minute to populate, but I do not have the fancy setup. I do not have my own producer and all that kind of thing. So I am the guy that is working. I sometimes have help on the back end, helping with, the comments and those kind of things. But when it comes to everything going on here in the studio, it's just me. So we'll see that populate here in a moment. But I see already folks asking about different towns. And here's the thing. This is the only storm we have right now. We don't have any other storms at the moment. So I can't really tell you what's going to hit one place or another until it's actually populated and it's there. So that's kind of where we're sitting right now with this, and we'll continue to monitor that storm. This one is not severe yet. We don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings. We just have the severe thunderstorm watch that was just issued a moment ago. So I'm just waiting to see that populate here. We're getting more of the radar kind of blowing up here near Hillsboro, between Hillsboro and Waco. And what I'll tell you is this storm, it's interesting. It seems to have, I mentioned this a second ago, it seems to have kind of hit a ceiling here in just the last several minutes. So it's blown up, but it doesn't seem like it's able to quite get past that certain level. So that may be still kind of fighting the cap a little bit, but temperatures have gotten quite warm, and this is essentially the warmest part of the day. So if we can't break the cap, then this is essentially all that we're going to see. But if we can break through that cap with these temperatures, then odds are we will probably see that storm continue to intensify. Could be larger hail sizes, could be greater wind speeds. And if we look at velocity right now, there are some breezy winds in that. There's some wind in that storm, not anything like we saw across parts of Johnson and Ellis counties on Saturday morning. So we're not really dealing with that setup at the moment. So we're not there yet. Neither is that the case with the little storms that we've seen down between Hillsboro and Waco. Not really seeing much there. And then as we go forward here, the vertically integrated liquid, we're seeing some heavy rain there. I'm not seeing any kind of severe hail there. There could be some small hail mixed in with that, pea-sized hail, that kind of thing, but I have not seen anything severe up to this point. And we're waiting to see that severe thunderstorm watch populate on the screen here, and then I'll get that posted, of course, on the page as well. But for the moment, we are right now just focused in on this one storm, this strong thunderstorm, not severe, but it is a strong storm at this time. Possible winds up to 40 miles per hour and could see, or excess of 40 miles per hour really, and then we could see pea-sized hail with that particular storm as well. And this is moving fairly quickly, 45 miles per hour. That's a pretty decent clip. And so as that continues on, okay, I'm getting some imagery here. So the interesting thing is this watch is fairly thin here. Here it is. So here's that watch. So Dallas, Ellis, Hill, Navarro. So Johnson is not included. I thought I saw Johnson on that list, but Johnson County not included. So really they're expecting, as this continues to move eastward, they're expecting these areas to be where the severe weather will occur most likely. So if you'll give me just a moment here, I'm going to grab this imagery, and that way I can post that on the page and get the word out. For one, we'll get the word out that the live stream has begun. I know some folks are probably used to the okay. So you're probably often used to the live streams not starting until after that point. And I'll tell you, Weather Call also just sent over the notification of that watch. So when you, let me see if I can pull that up. The phone does not want to work with me today. But when you sign up for Weather Call, and if you can see that, probably not, it's probably blurry, but you will get a message, a text message, an email, letting you know, hey, that watch is issued, and it's not urgent. So I mean, you don't usually want to get a phone call unless it's something urgent, something you need to know quickly. That's what I've heard from a lot of folks. Don't call me unless it's necessary. Well, the watch, we want to make sure you're aware of it, but it's not urgent. So you're going to get that phone call, and that is when that warning is issued. So I think there's a nice kind of separation there. And let's see, that watch is till 11 a.m. So I said 4 p.m. That's United Central Time, or United, what is that, Greenwich Time or Universal Time, whatever that is. It's the warning, or the watch itself is until 11 p.m. So that said, though, don't let that fool you. These storms will not be in this area until 11 p.m. They will be done and out of here well prior to that, but maybe 11 p.m. on the eastern end of that watch. So let me just get this out of the way here, and we'll see kind of what we're seeing there. So as I showed you, we have this storm. This storm here is the one that we've been watching. This has this blue polygon, and then south of that, between Hillsborough and Waco, seeing some more development. We could see that intensify as well. Remember, most of the watch is east of this area, so as this line continues, they're expecting temperatures and greater humidity to help those storms intensify as they move forward. And yes, for Weather Call, it is $15 a year, which, if you ask me, is not too high a price to pay for a service like that. So it is $15 a year. I mean, that's a little over $1 a month. And so for that kind of assurance, hey, doesn't seem like it's too terribly expensive to me. I'm going to move this out of the way here so you can see the radar while I'm working on this. Let's see, we're looking at 4. All right. Get to see some behind the scenes stuff here. I've got to get the this update posted. Man, I can't type at all on this. I know this is really boring, but but this is the way it goes sometimes. All right, so yeah, tune into live coverage for more updates. All right, so that way we've got that out there. Get that posted on the Facebook page and other social media so that folks know to get tuned in here ASAP. So here are the storms that we have so far. This storm south of, really moving into Ellis County here shortly, and it is not severe at this time. Like I said, it kind of got to a point where it hit just kind of a ceiling there, kind of a barrier, and hasn't really been able to get beyond it. What I will say is that the severe thunderstorm watch that we've been watching, there you go, does cover Dallas, Ellis, Hill, and then on from there. So they're expecting essentially this line to continue to move eastward, and once it moves east of, really towards I-35E here, and then continuing on eastward, they're expecting warmer temperatures, greater dew points to help this line continue to intensify as it goes. As I mentioned, this stuff is moving about 45 miles per hour. That's the good news, and that is just really a silver lining to all of this, where you can get past these storms fairly quickly, at least quick enough to not have to deal with the flooding issues that we sometimes get. Hopefully that will allow us to maybe get these things out of here before they intensify too terribly much. Now, these storms have been intensifying pretty efficiently so far. So I can't guarantee no severe weather, but if we can get these things out of here and on east, at least when it comes to our area, we might be able to get them moved out before the storms mature too much and move on to far beyond that. So again, if you're subscribed to Weather Call, you would have gotten that email, that text, letting you know that there is a severe thunderstorm watch, but you're not going to get the actual phone call until a warning is issued. And I'm sure we will get to demonstrate that at least once today, at least for some of us. So this is what we have so far. We're really kind of limited in what we're seeing, and we talked about that we didn't expect a whole lot of storms. Here's that new special weather statement going across Ellis County now. So maybe, just maybe, we can hang on to this storm, not quite reaching severe limits as it moves through southern Ellis County here. So let's get this new one popped up. It should be about the same here. Yeah, so winds in excess of 40 miles per hour, but it does increase the hail size to half-inch hail. That's up from pea-sized. So that's up from 1/4 inch now to half-inch hail. So it does look like there could be at least some higher speeds or some higher sizes in terms of those hail sizes, but it's not really talking much about greater wind speeds. So we'll zoom in on this particular storm here. Just kind of an interesting shape here as it continues on to the east, moving about 45 miles per hour. So it's moving a pretty good clip. It's going to move directly, looks directly east here. So towards parts of Maypearl here, Italy, Forreston. Looks like it'll probably go north of Milford, continuing on towards Avalon, Bardwell, Ennis. So we have 35 right here, and then 45, of course, outside of that, and 34 running right here. So it does look like it will cross 35, probably go across 34, and then move probably into parts of northern Navarro County eventually on as well. So I would say in the next hour, we're going to see this storm cover quite a bit of the kind of the real estate in our area. And somebody asking if the storm's going to hit the studio. It looks like it's going to go south of Waxahachie. I can't guarantee that at this point, but it does look like most of the activity is going to be between Waxahachie and Waco here. So I think just based on where things have popped up so far, that's what we're seeing. Somebody asking how they get Weather Call. Let me post that link again. It is in the description of the video, of course, so you can find the link there, but I'll throw that in the chat one more time for the folks who are wondering. Let me put this back into motion for you as well. Now, we are capped across our area. There's something on my tongue. It's driving me crazy. We are capped across our area here, and that has so far, I think, helped to maybe keep these storms from becoming too terribly intense. Yeah, so somebody seeing it in parts of Ellis County there, maybe near Midlothian. And yeah, these storms are going to look like they're pretty close as they go forward. But this one moving east at about 45 miles per hour. So I would say it's going to be right along I-35E probably in the next 20-30 minutes or so that you'll be seeing that storm in the Italy area, in Forreston, parts of southern Waxahachie. And then all of this activity between Hillsborough and Waco continuing to move on probably about the same speed here. Now, this particular storm, as it moves into Ellis County, not really hanging on very well. These storms are struggling to hold on to that intensity. So we are definitely looking at storms trying to intensify. And the thing is, once they intensify, they will probably do so fairly quickly. That is kind of my expectation here. And then one question is, are these going to be the only storms we see? Yes, after this line moves through, we should be done after that point. And then somebody asking if this is going to be like the other mornings. So far, it is not. So far, these are nowhere near the storms that we saw early Saturday morning. So that's the good news. But I will say now, someone asking, their son is actively warming up for his JV baseball game in Italy. So if you are doing outdoor activities in Italy, I would recommend maybe take a breather, maybe push those things back a little bit, because you do have a strong storm. Even though this one is not severe, wind gusts of 40 plus miles per hour, half-inch hail, and we could see some lightning strikes out of that storm as well. So this one is strong. It's not severe yet, but it is strong enough to where if you're doing those outdoor activities and you're the line of this storm, I would say maybe take a break, maybe push some things back with that storm headed that direction, especially with the lightning. When you're outdoors, you want to be very, very careful of the lightning possibilities in those particular storms. So nothing severe so far. That is the good news, but we do have that severe thunderstorm watch that was issued and will continue on until 11 o'clock. Let me remind you, we're not looking at this activity staying in our particular area until 11 o'clock. By that point, this will be well east of us. But we could, after all, see all of this, at least through, I would say, 6, 7 o'clock tonight. I think by 7 o'clock, certainly by 8 o'clock, this is all kind of out of here. So let's see. And Hannah asking, safe to travel to Ennis at 5 p.m. So I would tell you, the storm may be in that area by about 5 o'clock. So I try not. I get asked a lot. Should I travel here, there, everywhere? I try not to tell you specifically, right? But I will tell you this storm will probably be in that area around 5 o'clock this evening. So do with that what you will. I am asked about a lot of very specific travel scenarios, even out of state, so I just have to, I give you the information. I try not to give you specific travel advice because I don't want you coming back to me saying, hey, you told me not to go, I didn't go, it turned out fine, that kind of thing. And Robin, so you're thinking more storms could pop up around our area or just this one. So after we get behind this line, these are along a dry line that is moving eastward. So as that dry line continues on, then, we're in the dry air. So we will be done with the storms by the time this line moves out. I don't see another round coming up today. Now, the other thing we need to talk about is coming up on Friday. Very gusty, dusty conditions. These gusty, dusty winds we had last Tuesday, not yesterday, last Tuesday, last week, where you could step outside and it's just this constant roar, had the dust move through. Looks like we could be dealing with a similar situation this coming Friday, so there is a fire weather watch in place for that, because if you look around, you can see that there is quite a bit of kind of tan and brown stuff all over the ground, dead grass, dead vegetation, very dry vegetation. So that could possibly be problematic here. And Amy Thompson asking about Ferris. Well, you can see this one's moving east, and it does not look like it's going to hit Ferris. Ferris, of course, way up here. Looks like that storm's going to continue on an easterly track, probably go south of the Ferris area. Now, I can't guarantee that there won't be more development at some point, but at this moment, all that we have is this storm here moving into Ellis County, and these in Hill and McLennan counties there. New storm popping up just north of Hillsborough there. And so far, as I mentioned, these storms have kind of blown up to their really where they can, but they're struggling to get beyond that point. I think that I think they're doing battle right now. I don't know that they're going to be able to, that the cap is going to be able to hold much longer. Let me say it that way. I don't think the cap is going to be able to hold on much longer here. So I do think that we will see at least a couple of these quickly intensify as they continue moving eastward at about 45 miles per hour, moving fairly quickly. So this storm moving right towards I-35. So if you're on I-35 headed south out of Waxahachie right now towards Forest and towards Italy, just keep in mind that you could very well see very heavy rain, some gusty winds, probably 45, 50 miles per hour here, and half-inch hail falling in that area. So just keep that in mind. hey, if you have to pull over, that's fine. Just don't do so under an overpass. Okay, that's the worst possible thing you can do, because we don't want to impede traffic, especially for first responders should they need to get through. And someone asking, what about the area near Scarborough Fair? Well, you're getting rain now, and most of this is going to be south of you. Give me just a moment here. Okay, I've got a couple of updates coming in. So I've got a lot of people asking about a lot of towns. So let's try to zoom in and show you, just get some towns on the board. You got to know where you are on a map, right, to know kind of your location. Here's the storm that is moving due east. So if you're not east of this storm, then for this particular one, you're fine. We haven't had anything else pop up north of that, but this storm continuing to move eastward. So here is 35. The reason I don't have the roads on here is the map with the roads makes the city names teeny tiny. So I'm not, this is the only thing so far that I've been able to, or the only map set up so far that I'm able to find where the towns are decently legible, right? So the storm is currently south of Maypearl, going to continue on south of Waxahachie towards Italy, Forreston area, and then on towards Bardwell, Avalon, and eventually possibly towards the Ennis area. Now, this particular storm looks like it's struggling, right? And I can't exactly tell you what's going to happen here. If it breaks through that cap, it could very quickly grow and intensify. But if not, then it may stay kind of where it's at. We do have that severe thunderstorm watch in place. And a lot of questions coming in. So let me try to tackle these as I can here. Let me just move this over. A lot of questions, most of them town names, asking, what about here, what about there? So let me address a couple of things. I've got one person asking about Whitney. Well, if you're in Whitney, you can see that you're behind this line of storms, so you're done. Up here in Bristol looks like you're going to be north of that storm. So I don't expect much in the Bristol area. Again, you got to know where you're at on a map. And Taylor Adelon asking, so a low chance of them being severe or a high chance of them being severe now that there's a watch. So as I've been saying here, we are kind of in a wait and see period because we're waiting to see if that cap can break. If the cap can break, then these storms will likely intensify. This one starting to run out of gas here because it hasn't been able to get past that cap and continue to grow. So looks like unless this one can really do something here in the next several minutes, that one may just fall apart. This storm north of Hillsborough doing its best to continue to intensify here. One south of there that's kind of in a holding pattern. So that's where we are at. And I know that there's a lot of folks asking about here, there, everywhere. The thing is, I can't really tell you very much what's going to happen in Ennis because it depends on what this storm does. There's unfortunately, and I know it drives people crazy, but there's unfortunately a little bit of a wait and see element here to kind of get a better idea of what will happen downstream from that storm. We're in a waiting period, a wait and see, to see what if we're going to see the storms continue to intensify, if we're going to see the storms run out of gas, right? As this one looks to be doing at this point. Looks like it's kind of falling apart, but if it breaks that cap, then we'll see a quick reversal. We'll see that thing quickly intensify. And Josh Ryder asking, is there any more storms through the remainder of the overnight hours or the evening or the night? This is all we're going to get. This is the line of storms that we are watching for today. Once this thing moves through our area, we are done. So that's all that we have coming through. And it looks like we got several people joining up for Weather Call. I greatly appreciate that. If you're not familiar yet with Weather Call, that's where you're going to get a phone call if there's a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning issued. Some of the watches, the tornado watches, severe thunderstorm watches, you're going to get an email, a text message letting you know, hey, pay attention here. Just want to make sure that you're attentive here and keeping track of this, just in case something were to happen. So if it's not quite if it's not urgent enough for a phone call, and I know in today's age, you don't really want to be called unless it's absolutely necessary, right? So if it's just catching your attention, we're going to send you that text message, that email. If it's a phone call, a tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning, flash flood emergency, those kind of things, then you'll get a phone call, and it will be my voice giving you a call as well. So that is just another benefit to that. You know it's something that I am a part of because you're hearing my voice. So this storm continuing to run out of gas here just outside of Italy, just moving into the Forreston area. This storm north of Hillsborough, though, looks like it could be picking up intensity. So really, it's kind of a lottery here almost of which one will continue to intensify, which ones are going to just completely run out of gas and run out of energy. And Rana Milano, no, Weather Call is not an app. Weather Call is a service that you can use the link that we have posted to sign up for. And the good thing about it not being an app, it's not just going to, use your cell tower location, which may or may not always be reliable and useful. It's going to use your address and pin in on your location. So it's not going to tell you, hey, there's a severe thunderstorm warning 60 miles away, which I've seen apps do. So the good news is that we are looking at a scenario where you get a phone call if there's a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning issued for your area, or if you're included in a watch, you're going to get a text message, an email, that kind of thing. Flash flood warning, you'll get an email or a text. Flash flood emergency, when it goes up to that really dangerous point, that really urgent point, you're going to get a phone call, and that call will have my voice. And it also follows you where, if you're getting a warning and you're traveling, like you're going into a storm, or you see something ahead, or you heard something, you can use that feature, that Find Me feature, and it'll follow you there. Let's see. Coming from Waco, how much rain will I run into? Well, Rosetta, that's kind of vague. I'm not really sure what you're referring to. I'm not sure where you're going. So I'm sorry. That's a little vague. I don't really know how to help you there. And you can see the line out off of Grove Creek Road. Yeah, so that's right about in the area where I am. And I'm sure if I could see out the window, I could see it there. So a lot of people just jumping in. So let's kind of do a recap here of what we're seeing. Let me put this, kind of stop the motion on this. So we have one storm in Ellis County, southern Ellis County right now. It does have the special weather statement for a strong storm that was put out there for half-inch hail and 40+ mile-per-hour winds. Thing is, that particular storm has kind of run out of gas here. It's quickly running out of gas as it crosses 35. So presumably, unless this one can break through that cap and reinvigorate, it's not going to do much. The next storm we have that is intensifying right now, just north of Hillsborough. So we could see a special weather statement for that storm here shortly. And then a few south of Hillsborough, north of Waco here. So more activity there, not severe at this point. We don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings at this point, but we could see those here in the next several minutes because we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that is in place. That goes until 11 p.m., but I don't expect this activity to hang around that long. We'll see this continue to move eastward. So if you're in the Corsicana area, we will need to watch this storm. We'll need to, pay attention to what is moving eastward. But as I mentioned, we're kind of in a wait and see period with a lot of this because we're kind of in that area of uncertainty here where the storms are just popping up and we're not really sure. We're not really sure at this point exactly how much these storms will intensify, how long they're going to continue on. I mean, like I say, this one just completely ran out of gas, that lost its feet from under it. So that's kind of where we're at with all of this activity. It's kind of just doing its thing, and we'll have to watch to see if they can break through the cap to continue to intensify, or do they just run their course and they're done. We do have warming temperatures here. We do have fairly decent dew points. I mean, the dew point here is, what are we looking at? It's not going to tell me. And of course, it just switched off of that, and I'm not going to take the time to click the buttons. But so the dew point here, let me just take a look. What do we have at Midway Regional Airport right now? Hopefully, we have a current reading there. Yeah, so dew point's at 55. So 55, that's, yeah, that's a pretty decent, uh, I would say that's a decent dew point for these storms. Taylor Adelot asking, many pages are talking about tornadoes. What's your take? I can't speak to what other pages are doing. I can only talk about mine, right? A lot of pages are going to post the craziest stuff there to scare you. Some of those pages, you have to pay attention to where they're talking about, because there are other pages that cover other parts of the state, other parts of the country. If they just say tornadoes possible in Texas, Texas is a big place. You have to pay attention to where they're talking about. I don't see any kind of tornado situation right now in our area, so I'm really not really that concerned about that. Liberty Gray is asking, is it going to rain in Waxahachie? Well, it doesn't look like it with that particular storm at this point. And a lot of people asking if they need to shelter their vehicles in Ellis County with this storm. It continues to weaken, so unless this thing picks up strength again, looks like any hail threat for most of Ellis County is not too much of a concern right now. And Carrie Sorsby, you're saying we're only in a 1 out of 5. Doesn't see anything about tornadoes today. So here's the thing: you can't always go with marginal risk, slight risk, whatever. You have to take them all seriously. We were under a marginal risk when those storms came in early Saturday morning. So you can't take it as, well, we're this thing, so that means exactly this. Not really the case. Tornadoes are possible today, but what we're waiting to see is what kind of storms we're going to have in our area, because we're kind of in a midpoint where we're just the start of this event, right? So it's unclear exactly how long or not long it's going to take for this thing to really pick up and kick into overdrive. So not really to that point, as not really seeing that yet. We're not to the point of severe thunderstorm warnings and those kind of things. Any threat of big winds, again, it's possible, but not at the moment. We have to wait and see what the storms do here. And Amy Marie are asking if there's anything for the Ovilla Red Oak area. Well, as you can see on, again, if you can see on the map, not really much happening there, and these storms are moving east. So that storm is well south of the Red Oak and Ovilla area. Let me just put this back into motion here. And Blooming Grove area, is that storm progressing or dying out? So this one is definitely starting to kind of fall apart. And so as that moves eastward, unless something changes with this one, it looks like that may very well die out. The rest of the storms here, now this one just outside of Hillsboro, looks like it might have peaked and then now may be ready to kind of die out. So these storms, they're going to continue to blow up and try to fight that cap. Looks like they're still fighting at this point, because I haven't seen a storm really take off at this point. So we will see what happens here. This storm continuing to fall apart. This storm near Hillsboro looks like it may have already hit its cap, or may have already hit its limit, and then will continue to weaken here. Just west of Hubbard, another storm, but that's not severe. Really no severe weather at this point. And then this little line here, as that continues on, I would say, I know the next major area is the Corsicana area, so we'll see how long it takes for those to kind of stick around or start to weaken or whatever. But assuming that those storms are still there in whatever form they are, they're moving about 45 miles per hour. So I would say you're probably looking at some kind of activity in the Corsicana area. It's about 4:45 now, so I would say by 5:30 or so, you're probably looking at that activity in the Corsicana area. And yes, Peyton, this is the only line of storms we're expecting overnight tonight. So that is, after this goes through, we're done. So Cleburne area, near Hillsboro, you're going to be done with that. Somebody saying that tornado sirens are going off in Avalon. I doubt that's the case. We don't have any kind of severe weather for those to be sounded. So unless it's some kind of very unlikely situation, I would say that you're probably not hearing those outdoor warning sirens going off at this point. And the camera is, I need to adjust this a little bit if you will allow me a moment, because it is just not acting right. So let me get this cleared up here. There we go, that's better. Okay, and more folks asking for the weather call link. Let me post that again. Okay, so there's the weather call link. So make sure you grab that. If you didn't see it, it is in the description of the video as well. So that's another spot where you can grab that. So far, storms have been relatively calm. At this point, we have had this special weather statement issued that is calling for that storm that has since kind of collapsed at this point. So again, it looks like these storms are fighting the cap and just are not quite able to get there. But I mean, you can, all through this line, you can see they're firing, they're trying to get out there, but just not quite able to. You know, these storms are trying to fight that cap, and here's the thing: as soon as they bust through that cap, they're going to intensify fairly quickly. So that's what we're watching here. And I really thought this particular storm was going to be the one maybe to kick things off for everybody, but it looks like that one just is not able to hold on. But you can see it's trying. All of this activity is really trying. All of this lift that is coming through with this storm system, they are trying their best to make something happen, but just are not quite able to do it. So we have these storms in place. We'll continue to monitor these, but what I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this live stream, and then I'm going to continue to monitor these, and I'll bring updates, of course. But so far, no severe weather. This didn't blow up quite the way I was thinking it might. So I'm going to wrap up the live streaming right now. That will allow me to step over and just man the computer and just kind of watch these more closely. And of course, we will bring more updates and more live coverage as necessary as these storms continue through our area.